Hey guys, welcome in. Happy Wednesday. Hope everyone's having a great week here. We're back. Today's topic, we're talking about 7 steps to making $100,000 subdividing land. We did a podcast on this as well, and this is what brought the idea. We talk about subdivides a lot, but this is going to be actually walking through the step-by-step process on how to go about it, Ron.
Yeah, I agree. Excited to talk about this one. It's obviously subdividing as a whole is. Sorry, I'm going to fix my mic a little bit, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
Subdividing as a whole is really growing. But yeah, happy to have everybody in here. We'll get started here in a couple minutes. I'm going to put the question of the day in the chat so you guys can see, and we will get rolling here in a minute.
Absolutely. Welcome, Eddie, Pete, Frank, Thomas West, Cindy. Welcome, guys. Excited to be here. This is a really solid topic here. This was a good conversation we had on the podcast. It's coming out tomorrow, or either tomorrow or Monday.
Monday, I think.
Monday, coming out Monday on the 7th, walking through these steps again. But this is a really solid topic, and we'll have some good actionable items in this as well.
Exactly. Question of the day, guys. What's the most difficult part about subdividing? If you guys know, we've talked about subdividing so much, so I assume most people, unless you're brand new, which is fine, more than welcome. What's the most difficult part about subdividing land? Brian, welcome. Tracy,
Brian, what's going on?
Cindy,
Tracy, Chase, Eric, what's going on? Let people trickle in here. Curious if anyone in here has done subdivisions or looked at them. I know waiting on my first subdivide deal, Cindy said. Curious if anyone has any subdivision experience. I know we talk about it a lot. I know a lot of people in the community are doing them. Just curious on your guys' backgrounds with them.
Just so much money to make on a single deal, and it's relatively easy, I think. What's the most difficult part about subdividing? Question of the day, road frontage, Ryan said.
Good answer.
Sean, Brad, how you doing? LaShawn, welcome in. We are not twins, we're brothers.
Let you guys get your answers trickled in there. But what's the most difficult part of subdividing? And if you guys have subdividing experience, welcome, Logan, Pete. Pete said I've done some info with my dad. Yeah. If you guys have some experience, let us know with subdivisions in there, because I'm curious to see. It's something, and we're talking minor subdivisions here. We're not talking about, putting in roads and infrastructure and, engineering in place. We're talking minor subdivisions here. So pretty straightforward stuff. Let us know you guys' experience, and let us know what you guys think the most difficult part is. This is a way to really immediately get your guys' average profit per deal way up. I mean, you only need a few of these a year to make really good money, and it's not that much different than just buying and flipping land. It's fairly simple. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Give you the 7 steps, step by step, to how to go about it, how to target the deals, what to look for, all that good stuff.
We're going to try to do it as hands-on as possible in this, because we do have a podcast coming out next week that's going to talk about this. A little more talking probably than we're going to do today. Today we'll kind of walk through. I'm going to share my screen, get started. Is there we're going to talk about the 7 steps here, Dan. Is there a part of the 7 steps that you think is the most difficult?
I think the most difficult part's finding the right piece of land for it. Yeah.
Good point.
So
that's kind of a combination of choosing an area, marketing, all that different stuff.
Kind of, but it's like the right parcel for it, actually getting that, because there's so many different, you can put in roads and stuff, but having the right amount of road frontage, like someone said, I think is one of the most difficult parts. But when you do get them, and there's ways to get them now that we're going to go into, it's great.
Exactly. So 7 steps to subdividing land to make $100,000. We're talking about finding these deals where you can make $100,000 on a single deal, 6 figures on a single deal. Dan just said his most difficult part. I 100% agree with that. First, let's just talk about minor subdivides versus major subdivides, Dan. And what we're going to be focusing on today, guys, when we're going through these 7 steps, is minor subdivides. This is taking a 30-acre parcel and breaking it up into 6 5-acre parcels, whatever it is. Where a major subdivide is what you look at in subdivisions in your area. It's 100 half-acre parcels, 50 half-acre parcels. The difference in the two is time to get these done. Major subdivides can take 2, 3, 4 years. A lot of times just to get approvals. You need utilities almost always. You need to build roads, fire department, all these other things go into major subdivides, where minor subdivides are much simpler.
I agree. And someone asked in the chat that we can get in can this take spots of your regular flips? Like, absolutely. If you can find a way that we're going to teach here to only target these, this is the best niche out there in terms of profitability. So this could be your whole business. If I were to start over from scratch, knowing what I know now with the knowledge base of knowing how to flip standard lots and everything and evaluate land and all that, I would only do this, I think.
Save that money. Said, can you do 50 subdivides per year and make $5 million? If you do 50 subdivides a year, you're going to make much more than $5 million in the year.
You're good at it, yeah.
You can do one a month and you can easily make like $2 million. Like 100,000. And we'll talk about that more as we go on. 100,000 is a low area, to be honest with you. Step number one, I should have put steps in front of here, but this is step number one. So you're going to be choosing an area. Dan, talk a little about choosing an area near you, and then I can get in the restrictions, regulations.
Yeah, on the podcast we talked. I mean, you can go through the standard county selection, you can go through all that stuff, but I think with subdivides, you have a unique opportunity to do it in your backyard. Find somewhere if you're in the right spot for it. A lot of people are overseas in here or in Canada, whatever. That's an exception, of course, but I don't mind starting with a subdivide in your backyard within, hour and a half, 2 hours away from you, 100 miles or so. If you guys are in an area outside of cities, things like that, you can start in your backyard. It's going to give you a lot of advantages on the back end. It's not 100% necessary. It's not needed, but I think does give you a really unique opportunity to get deals. There are some things you have to look for while choosing an area, like the restrictions that you can get into here.
Yeah, so restrictions, regulations are like what determines a minor subdivide, essentially. We want to stick to minor subdivides, essentially. So you're going to call the county and you're going to ask them, what, sometimes they have documents of this stuff and they just lay it out. For it to be a minor subdivide, you got to do this, this, and this. What you want to ask them usually is, what are your minor subdivision regulations? And a lot of times they'll just list them off. Like if you have 30 acre, or if you can't break it up into more than 5 parcels, you need X amount of road frontage. And those are the type of things you want to know what you need to do. You want to make sure it's realistic. Some counties are going to be like, you can't subdivide anything under 20 acres. That's not going to be a good spot to start. You want areas where you can subdivide things a little more than that, and keep it as a minor subdivide. Pulling data, Dan. I'm going to walk through on the land portal. So step 2 is pulling data. So you chose your area. You go on the land portal. You're going to go to filtered search. I believe we have a free 14-day trial in the description below. But what you're going to do, you're going to go to vacant lots. And let's say we live in Cincinnati, Ohio. Or, we're from Cincinnati, Ohio. We'll just choose somewhere right outside of there. So let's go to
Claremont,
Ohio. And you want to do Adams. And you can, if you don't get enough data, which we'll see what we get here, Adams County, Ohio. And when you're pulling data, I'm just doing this quick, guys. I'm not doing anything exact, but I'm going to do over 20 acres. So we can probably do something with that. And then the part you want to make sure you do is this road frontage. So this is how much road frontage it has. If you don't have a lot of road frontage on your land, it's not going to make for a good subdivide. What do you want to do here, Dan? Like 800, 750?
20. So if you think you have 20 and the minimum you want to do is subdivide 20 into
Let's go 20 to 50 so we have a top.
Yeah, but think of the minimum here. So let's say if we do 20, the minimum amount of subdivisions that we're going to want to target is 2 10-acre lots if it's 20, right? And what would we need for 2 lots? If it's 800, it'd be 400 feet. So that'd be the absolute minimum you're saying.
Yeah, but you can make different shapes too. Like it's not going to be as straightforward as just split it up.
I'm just averaging it out. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna do. Let's go
big. Go 1,000.
Let's go 1,000 as the minimum, and let's see what we get here.
And then
so now we have.
This isn't a data pooling exercise or anything like that. We're just telling you the filters you need to use for this to work. There's also wetlands. I would 100% do wetlands here too, just because when you subdivide, you want it to make sense for all the parcels. I wouldn't do anything with more than probably 50%. Let's
do that. 50 as
let's just stay here. But if it was mine, I'd probably go to 75. So
wait, this is 50 as the minimum. So we want 0 to 50, right?
0 to 50, yeah. So that's going to not give you anything wet. You can do FEMA. You can do your other stuff out of county, last sale date. You can work those same things here, but we're going to keep it simple for the sake of this exercise.
Let me, someone say, can we zoom in a bit? Let me do that for you guys. Does that help?
And you might be on your phone too. You can enlarge it a little bit, zoom in.
I'll take us off the screen for 2 seconds. No, I'm not going to do that.
Put us back on there, and you guys can rewatch this if it is small on your guys' desktop. This is going to be under our channel, you can click live and rewatch this on a computer too if you're on a phone.
Okay, so real fast, let me just break down. So we hit vacant lots here, Ohio, Adams County, Ohio, 20 to 50 acres, 1,000+ feet of road frontage. We hit apply and we have 761 results. This is how you pull data on here. We're not going to get too much in the nitty gritty on here. And you can hit on view on map and you can see the quality of these parcels when we go. Like this one, for example, like this is amazing. If you click into them, you can see how much road frontage it has. Should be able to see how much road frontage it has.
I'm pulling up
No,
that
it's not
for some
pulling up.
reason.
But you guys see the amount of road frontage, all these. Like this one, Dan, like this one has, it looks like a little structure or something like that. That's no problem at all. Like the amount of road frontage these have are going to
Yeah.
be great. And when you're ready to export, you don't want to get into each and every parcel and look at every parcel to see if it makes sense. Like this one has multiple sided road frontage, everything like that. But you don't want to get too much into every parcel. And then what you're going to do when you're ready to export, when you review it, everything like that, and it makes sense for you, you've already chose your area. This is the pooling data spot. You're going to hit export. You can name it whatever you want. You could add another county. If you want to do another county at the same time, you definitely can do that. But this would give you 761. If you want to remove duplicates so you don't have any duplicates, it's going to save you a little bit of money on data. And then you would hit confirm. Your screen would look a little different than this because this is an admin account, but that's essentially how you pull data. That's going to give you a list of all the vacant landowners, 1,000+ feet of road frontage, 20 to 50 acres, and so on.
And these are very, very targeted leads. I mean, you're talking 20 to 50 acres with over 1,000 feet. It's not a huge data set, 750 or whatever it ended up being, but that is very, very good quality land. But we're going to get into more why this makes sense price-wise.
Okay, so the next step, so we chose an area, we pulled data. Now step number 3 is marketing. And marketing is not marketing to sell properties. Marketing is how we are going to get properties. So you can see what I wrote here is the goal. The goal is to get interested sellers on the phone. You need to be creative with this stuff. What we talk about, what we love a lot of is direct mail with follow-up texting. Again, there are different ways to combine these different marketing. We are reaching out to sellers. Just get interested sellers on the phone. I don't care how you guys do it. There's a combination of so many things. Pick up the phone, start cold calling people. I don't care. But you have such a targeted list with those 700 people, Dan, that we just found. You have such a targeted list. You just need to find a way to have phone conversations.
100%. And use a combination. These aren't like a $20,000 little flip, 15,000. This is $100,000 plus deals. Like there's a lot of money into this, so you got to put time and effort into marketing. Hit them with direct mail, blind offer 70% of market value. Get them on the phones. Hit them with follow-up text. You want to be really aggressive with these.
Devin said, could you go lower road frontage for flagpole ships? You
100%.
absolutely can go
Yes.
lower. We just did it more on the safer
You
side.
can go lower, Devin, and put a road through the middle too. If you want to put $25,000 in and just get exponentially more money out because it's a subdivide, you can do that also.
If you buy a parent parcel at close to retail price for subdividing, what is the minimum?
We're going to get into
margin?
the pricing.
Okay. All right, cool. So yeah, marketing. I don't have an exact formula for this, but sending them letters, all that stuff, follow-up text, cold calling, whatever it is, get interested people on the phone. Next step is negotiating and project planning. So you're talking to some potential sellers, they're interested. The goal of this step, in my opinion, Dan, is finding out what the max market value is. So you want to break up that parcel in creative ways and try to figure out how much money you can get. Let's go real fast and find one of these, Dan. What'd you say?
On the back end. So
yeah, so now we have interested people. They're interested in buying. Let's just choose this one, for example. This is probably very
geez, that's gonna be a lot.
Oh, I didn't see this road frontage here. Crap. Wow. But let's go here, for example. How many acres is this? 48 acres. So we have 48 acres here. You have road frontage down here and you have road frontage down here. You can see on the road frontage, this is adding up both of these. Let's just say we can't go any smaller than 10-acre parcels, Dan. So when you're cutting these up, you want to figure out what you can do. And I just click that tool. I'm just going to do it like this and see what happens. I'm not going to be exact on here, but what our goal is here, this is 6.13. Let's say we can't go under 5 acres. And I'm just going to cut it up here, honestly, Dan. We might do some smaller on that eastern side. Let's see. These are probably going to all be around 5-6 acres. That one's a little bigger, 8 acres. Then we could probably go one over here, I think, like here.
You can get a lot more than this. You can do a flag shape there too.
Yeah, you can. I'm actually go all the way down on this one. I'm gonna make that a little thinner up there, kind of like a pizza shape to give me a little bit more room in the back later. This one was under 5, but that's okay. But you're just seeing how many parcels I can get out of here. And you want the land to make sense. You want buyers on the back end to be interested in the type of properties that you are doing. And if you can go under 5 acres, that would be awesome, because we definitely could have the ability to add a couple more.
Yeah, I mean, you could chop this. You could probably double it if you, depending on
What the restrictions are and that kind of
what
stuff.
the restrictions. This gives you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 parcels. You could probably get 12, 14 easy out of this
And
if
one thing I
there's,
didn't do here, Dan, before I did this is look at the quality of the land. You always want to make sure that something, because I see this little creek thing running through there. You want to make sure that you're not making any really, really defected properties. But here you can see that all looks good. We have a 6, 8, 5, 3.5, 5.6, 6, 4, and 6. Not saying this is the perfect way to break this up. I would definitely take more time on this. But your goal of this step, one, you're talking to the seller, seeing how interested they are. And you're also seeing like, okay, if I break it up like this, how much money can I get on the back end? So you know, like the max offer price you can go up to essentially.
yeah, absolutely. And they said, "Are you subdividing this on the land portal?" Amber asked. Yes, that's all done on the land portal. What we just showed.
Amber just joined the program, I think, a few minutes ago, right, Amber?
Oh, nice.
That's
There you go.
awesome.
That's exciting stuff.
Um, all right. So yeah, so you are cutting that up. You don't, and talking about our offer price, Dan, when you're cutting it up this much, like you want to be buying it for 40 to 45% of what your max value is at most, because this is a lot of work for one. You want to be over doubling your money on these parcels. That's not saying like this parcel might be worth, if we sell all 48 acres, let's say it's worth $200,000. We might be able to offer $170,000 because when we cut it up, we can get $380,000. That's what these deals look like. We can offer such a good price to the seller because our value add here creates so much more money on the back end.
And what did so yeah, the theory of that, guys, is really simple. I mean, you're taking a bigger parcel and you're chopping it up and you're selling it into smaller parcels for more price per acre, because people spend more price per acre on 5 acres. 5 acres might be worth 40 grand, but 20 acres, so that's what's five? That's 8 grand an acre. But 20 acres might be only 4 or 5 grand an acre, just because the economy of scale. So that's just how it works. And that's why you can all of a sudden spend, you can buy this for 90, 95% of market value. Sometimes you can buy parcels for 120%, 150% of market value, and the subdivide still makes sense and you're still doubling, tripling your money. That's why this is cool, because you provide so much value to the seller as well, because you can get them much, much more capital.
Okay, next step, Dan. So I want to put some bullet points under here so you guys have them to go home with, or have them. So getting under contract, Dan, what are the key? We can kind of do these together. So when you're getting under contract, you want to make sure you have earnest money down.
Yeah, for deals like this where you're talking good 6 figures of profit, you definitely want to lock it up.
And that locks it up. You can have a two-week due diligence, short due diligence period with that earnest money, and then it goes hard after that. So essentially, after the due diligence is up, the earnest money goes hard. I also with this, guys, actually, earnest money down. Have the attorney closing and attorney holds. Don't give it
I
right
would
to
try
the
to not make
seller.
it hard if you don't need to, but yeah.
What'd you say?
I would try to not make it hard if you don't need to, but yeah. You're
Yeah, but
selling.
if you give 2 weeks and like it's gonna, if as long as it, whatever the contract looks like. And one thing you said, Dan, was being creative / flexible, I think, with the contracts, right? Where like help work with the seller to put together a contract that makes sense for everyone.
This is all
And
negotiable.
what'd you say?
This is all negotiable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, see what they want. Like, what's the most important thing for the seller? Are they trying to do this really fast? You can make it happen really fast. But find out what they want, like when they're trying to close, all these different things. These are huge potential deals.
Yeah.
$100,000, $200,000, $500,000 profit deals you can have with this kind of stuff. So put some time into these steps where you are building a relationship for one, and you're also making sure it's done properly.
Yeah, and the amount of earnest you want to put down, minimum is $500 typically. I mean, you can start there. The thing with locking it up, it's not about the amount of money to lock it up. Sometimes the sellers will ask you to put more down, so it really depends. But 500 is the minimum, and that's where I would start.
500 most sellers I think will be fine with.
Yeah.
Put it down, hold, everything like that. So yeah, And now you're just working with a title company essentially to close the deal. This is where it's very, very similar. I think there's a point, Dan, when you talked about, I want to remember what it was. This is not going to be exactly a podcast. We'll have some different steps in there. There's a point where you talked about reaching out to realtors and surveyors. When should they be doing that?
Once you're getting it under contract, once you're under contract,
Okay. So once you're under contract, I think that's what we had a
it would
step.
be
So I think,
closing. It would be while closing during the title process.
yeah, I think this one was actually, I think closing and selling the land you had combined, or we had combined. Closing and selling the land. And then here we have realtor slash surveyor. And one thing, surveyors a lot of times are going to ask for 50% down payment for you to schedule, essentially, to get on their schedule. Do not do that if you don't own the property in your name. You want to call them, see their timeline, how long it takes them. If they are asking for 50% up front, do not do that until you close on the property. Because if something comes up with title or anything like that, talk about finding realtors, Dan, and the value there.
Yeah, the main value with realtors that, well, one, they can hook you up with good surveyors in the area and monitor it. Along with that, like you're gonna have 10 different lots split from this one lot, or 20 lots split, or five, whatever it is. They're gonna know the land, they're gonna be out there, they're gonna walk it, they're gonna be able to take buyers. A buyer might want lot 7. They can take them to lot 7. So realtors, when you're doing improvements, add more value. One, because they do have local connections, but two, they understand the land. Don't force it if you can't find, you don't need a realtor. But they, a lot of times with this projects, will help.
Yeah. And then surveyors, like I said, call 5 or call 3, 5. It matters what area you're in, how many there are, and get them lined up. You want, ideally, your survey is done as close to after you close as possible. But if it is down the line, that's what we're going to talk about here with closing and selling the land. And I wonder if I can find some, Dan, if I look at all. Let me, you probably won't. But what you'll see on some of these postings is subject to survey. So you have the surveyor schedule. Let's say you close tomorrow on the land. The surveyor said he's 4 weeks out. So that puts us at whatever, October 15th. He says he can get it done by October 15th. Do not just sit on your hands not having the property listed until October 15th. What you want to do is list the properties based on the expected acreages you're going to have, listing them and just saying subject to survey. So for this example here, what I would do, we have an 8-acre parcel. So I would post an 8-acre parcel up, or 8.2, whatever you want to say. I would post it up on the MLS just like normal after we bought the property and just say subject to survey. And then the key there is when you get buyers under contract, when they're interested in these, get them under contract for a price per acre and not just a net price, just in case the survey comes back and it says 7.9 acres for this parcel, or 8.6 or something like that. So they're paying for the amount of land that they're actually getting. Exactly. Subject to survey. Do not sit on your hands, though. That is one of the biggest things that I see people do. They buy a piece of land for a survey, and then they do not do anything with it until the survey is complete. This is completely legal. It's completely fine. Like, you're subject to survey. You're subject to the survey happening. You're not going to close on the sell side until that survey is actually done.
Yeah, I agree. Do we have any next steps? Because I want to break this down in a way for people to help understand.
No, there isn't.
Okay, so pretty much the main thing with this is, you got to reach out to landowners. Obviously, send your marketing, send your text, get a hold of them, offer higher market value depending on that. But the main things you want to find, guys, are the restrictions. How small can you break down a 20-acre parcel into? How many lots can you break it down? Is there a minimum size? Are there any restrictions created? Can you put mobile homes on it still? All that good stuff. So you need to find the descriptions or the restrictions with minor subdivides. And then when you get the leads back, so you send your marketing out, you're texting, cold calling, whatever that is. You have someone like this property interested. They're ready to go. I'm not sure who this owner name is, but let's just say Bob Smith on this. How big is this, Ron?
It's 48 acres.
It's 48 acres. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 different parcels we're doing. That's not the best drawing. We'd take much more time if we were doing this on ourselves. But let's just say there's 8 different parcels here. And let's say that 48 acres is worth $200,000. Okay. So Bob Smith calls, he's ready to go. You send him offer in the mail, or you texted him. He wants to know what your price is. You go back and forth. You're negotiating with him. So you think market value for that 100% market value is around $200,000. So I go back now and I'm looking at the property. I'm looking at the restrictions. I'm looking how many I can break it down into. Now we have 8 lots. Let's say we can get, 500,000. What's a good price for 8 lots, Ron, for this?
Um,
It's
I don't
fair
know.
market value,
Probably, yeah,
200.
yeah, 4 or 500,000.
Let's say 480, because that's about normal. All right, so let's say this 8 lots. Now we're breaking them down into 5-acre, 6-acre, 3.5-acre lots. We can get 480,000 on the back end. We know we could go up to $200,000 on this. That's fair market value, but we don't want to necessarily start there because that is market
Yeah.
value. You're paying cash. You have funding lined up, all that good stuff. So you don't want to just say, "Oh, I can pay you 250 grand to do it." I'd probably go in 150 or so. Start 130, 140, 150. See what you can do. But does that make sense so far, Ron?
Yeah,
The
100%.
negotiation side. But on the flip side, let's just say all 8 lots didn't equal 480 grand. Maybe let's change that. These 8 lots we're gonna get, let's say 370. So now let's say the 8 lots we think out of these we can get 370. Fair market's 200. Now your margins, you want to double your money typically on these. So your margins change a lot with this because you don't have 480. Now that's when I need to start considering, okay, with funding in place, everything in place, what do I want to offer if I can get 370 out of it? 200 might be a little tight. I need surveys. I need some things built out. It's going to take time to sell. I have investors. So I can't go all the way up to 200. Maybe like 135 is what I feel comfortable. So whatever that number is for you, but that's how you just want to work backwards from what your market value is now, so you know kind of what your peak is, because you don't really want to pay over that if you don't need to, and then what the future value of your improved land is as well.
100%. Yeah, that was a really good breakdown. Real fast, guys, before we end up here, we got a few more minutes. Put last questions in there. I'm going to go through these steps one more time. I'm not going to go in much detail. Step 1, you're choosing an area. Making $100,000 on a subdivide. Most subdivides are over that, but that's just a starting point.
Yeah.
Step 1, choosing an area. Step 2, pulling data. Step 3, marketing, and that is trying to reach out to sellers, get them on the phone. Step 4 is negotiating / project planning. Step 5 is getting under contract. Step 6, realtors and surveyors. And then step 7 is selling the land. Someone asked how long these typically take. They can take a year. The nice thing about subdivides is a lot of time you get your money back in the first few months, and then everything after that, you still have 3, 4, 5 parcels to sell after that. Everything after that is profit. But we do have a members call to get in, Dan.
Real quick,
Let me see
Ron,
if there's any other questions we missed.
if you guys like this and you guys want to come back for more knowledge, more information, we're here every single Wednesday. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It will give you guys notifications and helps grow our channel and bring us back every single week.
If you guys aren't a Land Portal member already, there's a free 14-day trial in the description. If you're trying to do this stuff, if you're trying to subdivide, you need to be able to get the amount of road frontage, all that stuff, all these filters, all these features are in this software. And this is the best software to do this and reach out to sellers and everything like that and do deals like this. Other than that, guys, we are going to end it there. And we'll see you guys